Well, what in the world happened here? Hi, Xenovator enthusiast. I bet you guys didn't expect Small World to get bought out. Yeah, so anyway, who would have guessed, right? Make sure you guys smash the link crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. You know what Small World does, right? It's banish 2 potential cards face down. Oh, that's what the new Xenovator deck wants. It wants to be able to use those nasty little face down tools that you got to be able to bridge you into a possible brand new piece. Yeah, I didn't think Konami had it in them to make an archetype that would basically be fueled by banishing face down cards. And now Small World ends up being one of the best possible bridges for you to unleash into. Isn't that just really, really cool? Now, you also have to remember this archetype has some very, very strict locking mechanisms on it that are going to make it so that, you know, you're going to have to be careful of what card effects you apply when. This also actually technically, I guess, makes Pot of Desires a card that you want to consider, because this is like the first archetype that we've had besides, you know, being able to use Small World to bridge, and then, you know, Pot of Desires fuel 10. And then guess what? Now that you've fueled 10 out of play, that actually just turns on your entire combo line. I don't see Konami limiting Pot of Desires at any real point in time, but the reality of the situation here is Small World is absolutely a bridge for you to be able to go through all of the bits and pieces of things you need to do, and obviously they're all psychic. So you have a very similar connection between all of those monsters. So we can pick up Small Worlds, we can pick up Pod Desires, because we know the next question you're just going to have to ask yourself is, are we going to play this like a 60 card pile? Because there's not really a lot of like extra deck application you can kind of go into, because the Xenovators, their entire job is to lock you to not be able to do things. Now, one of the other cards to consider is Gizmek Orochi. Now, and I guess Eater of Millions as well, because both of them serve kind of the same role. Now, Gizmek Orochi, as we've seen time and time again, his job is to banish 8, and then he floats onto the field. And then he gives the ability for you to banish 3 cards from your extra deck face down to target a monster on the field and destroy it, which actually is not bad. But the problem here is we can only use one effect of Gizmek Orochi once per turn. You know, I would have loved the fact that I could just special summon this by banishing 8, banish 3 from my extra deck face down, and be able to spot removal something in the same turn. No, that's not the case. Typically, the cool thing that this card had going for it was you would hit like an end phase, go Gizmek Orochi in the hand, banish the 8, and then going into the next turn, Orochi's job is to be able to provide you with that spot removal options to be able to handle those problems established on the field. It is a gimmick card. Now, with the Xenovator deck coming into play, my question here is, does Gizmek Orochi actually have a place in the deck? Is this something that we're going to genuinely look at and go, well, this also allows me to fuel from the extra deck to banish things, which once again, in the deck, I mean, you're not really doing a lot with it. Obviously, this also begs the question, you know, will we play Pot of Extrav in the deck as well? Because that is a banish 6 face down that we could technically access with the deck, but also, you know, Desires just feels way more critically important as a card. So I think my answer is, Gizmek Orochi is a cool gimmick. It might be something that the deck wants to side in because of the banish 8, but there's also just like the discussion of, you know, does it provide me with enough tools to make me want to play the card? It's cool. Yeah, so that's Xenovator Fallout. Celtic Mystic has gone crazy over the night. We have seen each and every weekend, it feels like, something in Rolad in the high rarity department thinks that it's going to have a good time trying to spike up in price. We question this every single weekend, because last weekend it was Griffo, this weekend it's now the Celtic Mystic. Now, the Celtic Mystic is a free draw 3, discard 2, and it's a free cheat out a ritual monster. I feel like the more that this deck has had time to kind of develop itself, that players are kind of starting to realize, oh, hey, you know, Celtic Mystic is actually a good card. There's a reason why we want to play this. Also, it's a one-of within the deck. The amount of people right now that are blinging out Rolad, because one, it is a Yugi deck, is really crazy, but also the fact that it's kind of, there's a lot of one-ofs for you to look at and to go forth. One big thing I've realized in this game, especially when it comes to things like this, is players are way more inclined to bling out 1 to 2 ofs versus, other rarities. So a Celtic Mystic, which is a 1 of within your deck, the Black Magician, the Black Luster Soldier, these are all cards that I personally wouldn't feel too terrible about, putting out a little bit of money in trying to drop. Now, in terms of, has this card actually sold at the highest price point? $79 or about $70 is about where you've seen the Celtic Mystics actually hitting. So it's not breaking too terrible numbers here, people. Just the reality of the situation is, once again, people see cheap cards, they're willing to pick them up. That's all there is to it. Obviously, case in point, turn back the clock and look at the ultimate rares that we've seen time and time again throughout the years. The great collapse of Shaddoll Fusion. I'm more shocked about the overall power creep on this card over the years than I really should be. Shaddoll Fusion has been on a pedestal for years. All right, and especially when we got the QCR, so many people shifted into wanting to pick up Shaddoll Fusions. Like, it was kind of insane to me, the amount of people that picked this up. But now we're doing the opposite of what we've been seeing with a lot of these QCRs. We're actually seeing a great expungeoning of these Shaddoll Fusions, and the card has actually dropped down to the $25 price point at the moment. Now, once again, my surprise to this is to none. This is a card that has been very, very polarized throughout all of its use. This was a card that you could be like, oh, we can go second, and we can play it in trains. Oh my god, trains with the new Earth Fusion dropping down 3 cards? The advantage that you could get with this is insane. But the problem is the new Shaddoll cards were very under received. They didn't really hit the mark that they needed to see, and that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing the unfortunate downside to a world where, unfortunately, Shaddoll has just kind of fallen out of favor. Now, don't get me wrong, Winda and Construct are still both amazingly broken cards. They are both able to just do some of the most BS things that we've seen in this game, and especially Winda being one of the last few remaining floodgates that is able to limit special summon capabilities on the opponent that you can also cheat out during the opponent's turn. Yeah, it's broken, but at this time, it's just not what the meta really calls for things. So I'm not surprised to see Shaddoll Fusion finally tanking into the ground. I think this is probably one of the better things we've seen so far. Now, we've also got the Magnificent Monsters drop-off. Displays are down to $45 a piece for one little tuck box. We're seeing boxes of the 10 of them coming in at $525 a piece. Honestly, still very expensive, but the price has been falling constantly here. The fact that we're continuing to watch this, and the fact that, more people have come through and they've started to get their allocations, they're starting to get the picture painted as to what's going on with this set. Yeah, now Magnificent Maestros is, coming in November. Depending on how this set drops. I mean, we are 3 to 4 weeks away from Magnificent Monsters coming out. We will finally get to see, how hard will it truly be to pull some of these number cards. How are we expecting ratios to be holding up on this? And I think a lot of the answers are going to be, we are going to be very shocked at numbers when push comes to shove, when this set finally does come down. I've been trying to include this segment in every one of these What in the World Happened Here videos, because it's very important to rationally look at how this set is going and continue to follow the drops on this. For the people that waited, I mean, Walmart rewarded people for it. We're not exactly sure how the rest of this is going to work over time, but this is the reality we're sitting on. So what in the world happened here this week? Xenovators. That's what in the world happened here. I can't actually wait to see how this archetype is actually going to scare people, but it's going to be a giant nothing burger, which is kind of funny. But please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.